Hello, my name is Monica Agbe. Of course, it is a Megastar Magazine TV. Well, today we are with the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and his name is Kimiebebi Ebienfa. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we are here to find out what this ministry is really all about. We need to let the people know the role the ministry is actually playing in Nigeria, as well as your role as the spokesperson.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as the name implies, is the um, government ministry that's in charge of conducting Nigeria's diplomatic engagements. We initiate foreign policy approved by the president, then we implement what has been approved by the president. So the ministry has 109 diplomatic missions that represent us outside the shores of this country. Out of that 109, we have 12 consulates. Now, embassies, diplomatic missions that are established in the capital cities of the receiving states. Receiving states means where the country, the capital of where the embassy is located. Consulates are located in major cities. So, for example, in Nigeria, you hear American consulates in Lagos. I think there are some Islamic or Arab countries that have their consulates in Kano, as the case may be. So, for Nigeria, we have embassies, then we have consulates. The consulates, which is 12 out of the 109 that we have, are located in Cameroon. We have two consulates. We have in Buea, we have in Douala. In Equatorial Guinea, we have a consulate in Bata. In South Africa, we have a consulate in Johannesburg. In Germany, we have consulate in Frankfurt. In China, we have consulate in Hong Kong, in Guangzhou, in Shanghai. In US, we have consulates in New York and in Atlanta. So those are the consulates that we have. Now, we send out representatives to the various missions. The typical Nigerian embassy is made up of officials from different MDAs. For example, you have the defense section that is headed by military personnel. They work in the embassy. You have the immigration section that is headed by officials from the Nigerian Immigration Service. Then you also have our sister agency, the National Intelligence Agency. Their staffs are also posted to Nigerian missions. So operatives from all these MDAs constitute the full working force of the typical Nigerian embassy. There are some embassies where the embassies are categorized from category A, B, C, and D. The category A are missions, for example, in London, which is the biggest. London and then Washington are the biggest missions that we have. Then Berlin is big too in Germany, as the case may be. Then we have the category B. So the representation has to do with the number of Nigeria. The categorization basically has to do with the number of Nigerians in that city, the importance of that country to Nigeria, the volume of trade between Nigeria and that country, then how we view our engagement with that country will determine the type of embassy, the category of embassy that we establish in those countries. So we basically coordinate activities of the government, then interpret or explain what Nigeria is doing at any particular time to the outside world. And also for the embassies, we get information from the countries where the embassies are established, then you report back to Nigeria. But the basic thing is we protecting the interests of Nigerians outside the country, implementing the foreign policy trust of the administration, representing Nigeria in the countries of the receiving states. The spokesperson of the ministry is like a man with three different caps. One, you speak for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That means explaining the activities of the ministry to the outside world or to outsiders. Programs, engagement, activities of the ministry. It's a responsibility to educate Nigerians about what the ministry is doing. Sometimes you speak on behalf of the minister. The minister have his own engagements, programs, activities, delivering a speech somewhere. Sometimes you represent the minister to give out to the public what the minister is saying at that particular point in time. Then the most technical and difficult task is you speak for the country sometimes. There are activities, depending on the subject matter, there are times whereby the world want to hear from the spokesperson from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and not the aides to the president that doubles are the SA media, SA communication to the president of the case maybe. So depending on the subject matter, so the spokesperson is a very important office, very technical, and very, I would like to put it, a very sensitive office that you can't afford to make avoidable mistakes. Yeah.
Okay, talking about avoidable mistakes, I know that you've had a couple of challenges, when it comes to, communicating the issues of the country based on other countries as well with Nigerians. What has it been like for you?
I think the spokesperson have to be very vast with um, global events as they unfold. For example, I have a template that I work with. If, for example, there is any major activities in the world and I'm not aware of about it, and my principals call my attention to it, I'll see that I failed in that regard. That means you have to be on top of every situation. You are supposed to know whatever that is happening, any major decision of that has to do with engagement between two countries. You have to be aware about that. So that means you have to have a lot of information that you have to process in the day, either reading newspapers, watching televisions, as the case may be, getting reports from our missions all over the world. Then also timely communicating programs and activities of the Nigerian government to the outside world. So that too is very, very important. So it's very challenging because you have to draft press statements, you have to do press interviews, you have to do press briefings, as the case may be. Then also responding to inquiries from journalists at every point in time. And okay, for example, now that Nigeria is having some issues with the United States government, journalists from practically all key media houses in the world want to interview you. So your phone will ring 24 hours about inquiries from even journalists that you'll be wondering how did they even get your contact. So that is how it is.
Okay, so what are the most pressing challenges facing Nigeria's foreign policy, and how is the ministry addressing each of them?
Most pressing, I would say, the issue of funding for now. We have stated that before that we are trying our best to project the interests of the country, explain our policy and programs to the outside world, but sometimes we experience hindrances in terms of financial limitations. But I think the minister is working seriously, taking that seriously with the president, and I believe something will be done in that regard. And also, sometimes people easily misinterpret activities of the government. With this in this era of, for example, fake news now, there might be statements that are not true about Nigeria that media houses will run with a particular narrative. So you have to struggle to diffuse or refute or to focus the mentality of people that this is not what is happening in the country, but these are the facts. So sometimes, we have a lot of media persons that media houses, the new media practitioner that they have either only their phone or a laptop, and they can publish anything. And if the person has a lot of followers, um, informations coming from those platforms will be seen as the truth or authentic sources, which most time is not the case. So you have to struggle to make sure you're on top of your game, not to allow false or negative narratives about your country to saturate the internet.
Okay, so talking about this internet thing now, would you say the development of this is actually a good thing, or is it a bad thing?
I think it's two ways. It's very good. It's good in the sense that it helps in the speedy dissemination of information, but it's also bad because if, for example, there is a targeted strategy to run you down through the internet, the what you struggle to do damage control, and the more you are quiet, for example, you are quiet for 24 hours, a lot of damage can be done to your reputation within just hours, especially if people don't do fact checking and they run to town with the stories. I don't know if you've heard about FIMI, all those targeted informations whereby people want to intentionally misinform the public.
Yes.
So all those narratives, for example, I love him as a person, the president of Burkina Faso, but you see that there are a lot of fake AI generated
AI.
stories about what he's doing in Burkina Faso. The case may be in the internet. So sometimes, if you are not the tech savvy, can't even distinguish between what is AI generated and what is ideal videos or original videos from the sources that they are portraying. So I think that is one of the negative aspects of this Libra. Though some countries have restrictions
Yes.
on publications or what you do in the net, but Nigeria, I think to a large extent, we are not a country that gag the press. So different persons have different media. In fact, I receive letters requesting for accreditation every day in the ministry. So every day, new media houses are coming up that want to cover activities of the ministry, and you just wonder what is going on. Teams every day, people are registering, or some they don't have the official government approval to run those media houses, but the way they operate now, if there is no checkmate to disprove or put out a curtain on those negative activities, if something is being on the net for a long period of time, people will think it's genuine. Then those are some of the things that we suffer.
Wow, it's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does the ministry engage with foreign governments and international organizations to promote the interest of Nigeria?
We have what we call binational commissions with some countries. For example, South Africa, Germany, Brazil. Now, binational, the engaging with other countries, country to country engagements are called bilateral engagements. Different countries in a particular forum of setting is called the multilateral. Multilateral engagement, we're involved with ECOWAS, African Union, United Nations, the case maybe, where we put resources together, assess what is going on in the world, take particular positions, read out a statement or resolution that each member country will strive to implement. Bilateral means there are just two countries, but you discuss on how you relate with each other in terms of your economic activities, political activities, as the case may be, and also even agreeing how frequent you should be meeting. All those things are important. For example, I think we had by now we have I think it was a political consultation meeting, or no, Nigeria, Germany binational commission was held I think last week. The minister is still away, but he had that meeting of recent, and we also have had Nigeria Angola Joint Commission, I think sometime last month, where the Minister of State represented the ministry and we signed a lot of agreement. We had a political consultation meeting with South Africa, where the South African Deputy Minister of International Relations was here and met with our own Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Now, those meetings create a platform whereby officials from both countries can sit together, agree on what area that they can cooperate or put resources together, learn from each other, and at the end you sign MOUs, agreements that will be binding on the two countries in their engagement.
All right, we are still talking to the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebebi Ebienfa. Can you please tell us how Nigeria plans to deepen relations with key partners like the US, like China, the EU, and regional blocs like ECOWAS?
Nigeria, currently, the main thrust of our foreign policy under this current administration is anchored on the 4Ds. Now, one of what we do is that we adopt what we call strategic autonomy. We relate with America what we feel should be the interest of Nigeria in our engagement with America. We relate with China based on what we feel should benefit Nigeria. That is what we do with everybody. So we don't do it in a way whereby, For example, if China is not friends to America, and we are relating with, or will be scared to relate with China because China is not in good terms with America. No, we, as a sovereign country, we engage you based on what we feel will benefit from you. That is how we conduct our foreign policy. So we have good relationship with America, with China, with Russia, with Germany, with South Africa, the case may be. For the African countries or countries in this global south, we operate under the non-aligned movement where we agree on what we can do, not to be subsumed in the division or activities or power tussle between the superpowers. Nigeria is a member of BRICS, as we became a member as a partner country. So we're involved in we subscribe to the ideology of BRICS, which is to make sure countries trade more effectively among themselves, try to see how we can trade among ourselves without depending on the American dollar, as the case may be. Our mode of exchange of financial services and trade should be swapping of our own currencies and not everything determined by the American dollar. So we are active in ECOWAS. As you are aware, our president completed 2 years as chair of ECOWAS. He only handed over to the president of Sierra Leone, I think, in June this year. So we are very active even in the African Union, how to promote development in the African continent, creating peace in troubled areas. We have been actively engaged in all those activities.
All right, talking about creating peace in troubled areas and interacting with various countries, what is your take on Trump's focus on Nigeria currently?
The issue is this. I think it is I would say a negative narrative to us as a country for outsiders to be commenting about the issue of killings in our country. I'm a Christian. The undeniable reality is this: there are killings in Nigeria. We can't shy away from that. There are killings in Nigeria that are not acceptable. That government need to do whatever it takes to stop those killings. But the issue of the federal government is that those killings are not strategically targeted at Christians, which is the stand of the American government, that Nigeria has been designated as a country of particular concern because to them there is perceived Christian genocide in Nigeria. But as a Christian, I don't think if you ask Christians in Nigeria, 50 or 60% will say being a Christian in Nigeria, there is a threat to you subscribing to Christianity, as the case may be. That is not the case. But we know that our brethren or national citizens have been killed in different parts of the country, especially in the north central, from Benue to Plateau to southern Kaduna. There have been killings for some years that is not acceptable. And there is that perceived notion that government is not doing enough to protect those villages dominated by Christians that have been killed. But for now, the current administration is trying its best and have also re-echoed the stand that they will make sure that nobody is killed in any part of the country. And I think it's yesterday there was a military delegation or a senior official that visited one of the pastors that have been in the forefront of crying about the unacceptable killings in Plateau. I think government is working harder to make sure that those killings that go unreplied will be a thing of the past in the country. So we'll work with them. We are ready to work with the American government if they will provide assistance to us, because it's not only it's not only ethnic militia or Fulani terrorists that are doing the killings. Boko Haram is killing people. The new group La Kurawa also that's in Sokoto, Kebbi area is killing people. Bandits are causing a lot of havoc in Zamfara, in Katsina, the case may be. But how do we fight and free our citizens not to live in fear? There are communities in the north that As a farmer, you have to pay royalties or protection fees to either terrorist groups or to bandits to then allow you to cultivate or even to harvest your crops. And those things are abnormal. But if we have support from our partners like America to help to boost the equipment, share intelligence to the Nigerian military to curtail all those crises, Nigeria is willing to do that. But the issue of carrying out unilateral strikes in our country, undermining our sovereignty, that is what the government is against.
Okay. Now, on the issues of trade and migration, how's Nigeria and how's the ministry actually managing disputes between Nigeria and other countries?
For trade and migration, in terms of trade, all what the ministry does is to facilitate the promotion of trade between Nigeria and other countries. Just as I said earlier, sometimes the ministry organizes what we call business forums, whereby you bring Nigerian businessmen with the businessmen from your targeted country to sit together, share ideas how they can carry on with partnerships or focus on each other's strengths. If, for example, you are a service provider, you need training of your staff in particular area, which other country is doing the same thing with you, and what type of training do they offer to their staff, so you make those collaborations. Then also for production, maybe a company that is producing let's say household materials, what particular items in the production chain can you import from this country or depend on this country to sublet to this country to help you in the process. So that is what we normally do in the area of promoting trade and economic activities in general. For migration issues, we facilitate the issuance of visa to visitors into Nigeria. Then we also see into the welfare of Nigerians in the country that they are residing. For example, we have the Nigerian community associations that normally work hand in hand with the embassies on how to regulate or manage the affairs of Nigerians in those countries. If, for example, someone from, let's say, Anambra State is living in a particular country and the person dies, how do you get to the family members? It is through those community-based groups that you can know where the person is from, how they can provide necessary information to the relatives, how you can have, as a diplomat, Nigerian diplomat outside the country, have stood in for families to conduct burials. Maybe someone died where you are serving, the family don't have the resources to bring the corpse back to the country, to Nigeria. The family will give you the consent to represent them in the burial process. We do that. Then we also encourage Nigerians to always register with the embassies whenever they arrive in a particular country. Okay. We have funny situations whereby people will, even top government officials will travel to countries you have not have the IQ or the idea or see the need to visit the embassy, but when their wallets have been stolen or they are stranded, then they will run to the embassy to provide succor for them. But we always do that.
So you're saying
Nigerians,
okay.
yeah.
So you're saying now that anytime Nigerians go to any country, they need to register,
identify with them. Even before, sometimes before you travel to a particular country, come to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, ask for questions about that country. I've been given a job offer in country A. Is it safe for me to travel? We will not do our own due diligence, and sometimes we will try to assess, do background check on the company that is offering you the employment. Okay. Now, especially in this era of job scams and internet fraud that is now very prominent in different parts of the world now. There is a case that I received information about. They said they are even close to 50 Nigerians. They were deceived that they are going to, they are offered scholarship or job opportunities in Thailand. They moved to Thailand, and from Thailand they took them from road to Myanmar. Myanmar is a small country, and that from what the person that sent information said, they are kept in a open hall under deplorable conditions and being forced to do internet fraud, what we call Yahoo Yahoo in Nigeria. So there are Chinese, according to him, there are Chinese and Thai nationals that are their bosses that are forcing them to do that. We have rescued Nigerians under those type of conditions from Burkina Faso, from Ghana, as the case may be, whereby Nigerians are being forced against their wish now to carry out those activities. So we try to sensitize our people about traveling to particular areas, even admissions. There are a lot of fraudulent universities outside. They will get your school fees and everything. You move there and you discover that the school that have offered you admission is a one building university that is not even accredited. You remember the case of NUC having issues with Nigerians that are graduates from, I don't want to mention countries, but particular countries in Africa. So we try to provide, even Nigerians that are in prison, embassy staff visit them regularly to ask, why are you in fact, what I normally do during my last mission, we go for even police stations, you go for visits periodically. I'm from the Nigerian embassy. I came to check if there is any Nigerian that is currently under detention. So they will bring everybody to you. So you ask each person, why are you here? What do you do? So whatever that you can do to help provide succor or give that person a sense of belonging, we normally do that.
So how often do you carry or does the ministry carry out this activity?
These activities are done, every embassy has its own schedule, how they visit this. And again, for example, if you are visiting someone that is even condemned and sentenced to life or to death, you still go there with toiletries. Sometimes you go with recharge card that the person can use at least to talk to his family members. So, but all these things sometimes still boil down to finance.
Okay.
If as a mission you are not buoyant enough to buy toiletries, let's say towels or even clothes that you can take to give your nationals, if you are not well funded, that you can't even take care of yourself, you can't extend to others. But if you have the resources, sometimes we do from our own pockets. But there is no way you sleep happily when you know that the Nigerian is being arrested and is calling for you for help. So normally do that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So will you say so far so good that in this present administration, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have done well in their duties, and in what area do you think that it can even do better?
We have carried out our responsibilities efficiently and effectively. The only challenge, the two challenges that I would say that we have currently, one is the issue of appointment of ambassadors that have not been done. We've received so much pressure in that regard. It's not that without ambassadors the ministry is not functioning, but there are some instances whereby the ambassador, for example, can search to see the president of the country to deliver a message from our own president. But if the ambassador is not there, the charge d'affaires, which is the acting ambassadors, sometimes have limitations in doing that. So that is one aspect. Then secondly, the issue of funding. If we don't have enough money to take care of ourselves, to pay our rent for embassies that don't have their own buildings, that will cause problem for the mission. So those are the little challenges that we are facing, but we are trying our best to make Nigeria proud.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Well, this is Megastar Magazine TV. My name is Monica Agbe, and we just had an interview with the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebebi Ebienfa. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Enjoy your day.